Hello and welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. I'm your host, Cesar Hernandez, and today we're going to have just a quick chat. It's only going to be about 15 minutes. We're going to go through the Liga MX updates. We're going to go through some of the more noteworthy things from the Liga MX weekend. But yeah, we're going to keep it short. As you can see, we only have one guest tonight with me. It's Jason Markowitz over in Philadelphia. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. A small one here, quick one. So I'm going to try to speak quickly.
Yeah, I guess we literally cut into 1/15 of the amount of time that we have allotted for this show.
We should get to it, I guess, huh?
Yes, yeah. All right, so let's get straight into it. I think the match that stood out to me this weekend was Toluca beating Tigres 1-0. Ruben Sambuesa with a goal in the 72nd minute of the match. It was actually a very impressive goal off a free kick if you guys haven't had a chance to see it. But that's Toluca once again stepping up in their 100-year anniversary, and Tigres really once again struggling. And Jason, what were your thoughts on that match, or Toluca, Tigres, or just even about that Sambuesa free kick, which was pretty impressive?
There was an impressive one.
Yeah.
No, I'm still kind of holding on to a bit of skepticism with Toluca, but what they've done so far, it's hard to rain too much on it because just how defensively composed they've looked, I think, in this early season. I think it's 3 goals they've conceded in 5 games now, and certainly against some of the toughest opposition and attacks in Liga MX. Certainly Tigres being one of those teams and shutting them down. Now, I think looking at the schedule, that's sometimes is really a sad thing and a little weak to do. But I'm going to go ahead and look at the schedule. Toluca, the 3 wins: win over Atlas, which okay, and the wins over Tigres and America. Obviously, 2 teams in Liga MX, but 2 teams that are kind of a little possibly worn out. Tigres having that championship hangover. America look a little. They had them. Their first game was in Toluca, so a draw against Pachuca and a loss to Chiapas. So I don't know. I think Toluca are a very good team, and what they've done so far, it's hard to rain too much on it. But moving forward, if we played out the rest of the season, I could see them kind of coming down from the absolute top of the league where they are at this point. And that's not to say that that's terrible, because I certainly expect them to be one of those top teams, but I could see them coming down a little bit from where they're at right now.
That loss to Chiapas really is shadowing something. Is that it's such a strange little thing to see them. All right, once you get even though America and Tigres were a bit tired, they played until late December. They're still really impressive teams, and it's really we shouldn't overlook the fact that they beat them. But that loss to Chiapas is just, man, that's an results that you can get right there. And I think really quickly going back to Tigres, I think something that's worth noting, and I don't know why I didn't catch this over the weekend, but so with Aquino, Gignac, Jurgen Damm, Sosa, and also at one point they brought in Vargas, and Eduardo Vargas in the second half. They didn't have a single shot on target in the loss. They didn't have with all those names. They didn't have a single shot on target, which kind of blew me away. But yeah, let's look at the next match that I want to bring up. Since it's already 5 minutes in the show, we could talk about Tigres for the full 15 minutes if we really wanted to. Yeah, there you go. Give me the hand motions. We got to keep moving. All right. The other match that stood out to me was Tijuana's 4-2 win over León. I think it was 6 minutes into the match. I thought Tijuana was done. It was an incredible goal from Elias Hernandez off a great counter that Andrade started for León. And León was dominating the match. And the next thing you know, they got Xolos got 2 penalty opportunities. Then they got 2 more. It kind of caught me off guard, actually. I'm still unsure. I'm still trying to catch up with the game, even a few days later, with that match. But once again, Xolos, they're in first place. They're maintaining that spot at the top of the table. And I keep wondering if they're the candidates for the league title, because I'm still not convinced with this team. I'm still not sure about them. But once again, they're at the top for another week. What were your thoughts on that match, or just Xolos in general?
Xolos in general. For me, they probably are the most complete team at the moment, because I feel like they're capable of beating anyone, and because I think they're so adaptable in the way they play. They bring such a physical presence to every game. I think that midfield especially could just feel like they just stranglehold some of these matches, the way that they kind of take control. And I think any time that a team goes to León, in that new camp, which I still hate saying the name of that stadium, but anytime they
I
go
don't
there,
like saying that either, man. It's weird. I don't like it.
But teams that go there and can dominate a game like that and really turn it around. I mean, Leon certainly had their chances, but like going there and putting 4 goals on Leon, I know there's a little kind of rockiness in the Leon ship at the moment, but still, going there and putting 4 goals on Leon is incredible. And I think, I don't know, I just think the way I said they're just so physical, but also at the same time, so much speed. There's a lot of youth on the team. I think they against like the top teams I'm looking at in the league. I'm like slowly. I want to pick Tijuana over every single one of those. I think they match up so well against everybody.
Wow.
And like it's kind of it's really coming together for me. At least the way I'm looking at this team is incredible.
So I was like, I mean, I said that I wasn't really that convinced by them. Maybe it's because I'm watching them far too much, and I just become more and more critical of them with every passing match.
Flaws, yeah.
Yeah, that might be it. But would you say, like, I mean, I know it's dumb to make, predictions this, especially like, this early in the season. But if there was would you say that they're the current candidates for the league title? If you had to choose someone right now, would it be Xolos?
They're my number 1 team at the moment. I mean, like, there's certainly like that. I think there's a group of 5 or 6 that you could put up there that are fairly comparable. And obviously, like, the title doesn't come down to the team that's playing the best and the best team at the moment. It's the team that wins those games at the end. So, but the way I look at this team, I think they can match up with anyone. And the way they're playing and that home field advantage they have, they're formidable. And so for me, they're number 1. And not just because of the results that I've seen so far, but just based on play and what I've seen from the teams.
Yeah, no, like, and I like obviously I said I'm really critical of them, but at the same time it'd be dumb of me not to, bring up certain players like Aviles Hurtado, who's been incredible this season. Paul Arriola, who's been, I think, one of the breakout players of the season after playing on the actually not even playing, but just like sitting on the bench the entire last season. Now he already has 2 goals and 2 assists, and of course Guido Rodriguez, who is an incredible defensive midfielder for them. But unfortunately, we're not talking about Leon the same way. And Jason, you brought this up. There are certain teams like Leon, like Tigres, like Necaxa, who only have 1 win so far and 4 points. And as you mentioned to me before the show started, these are teams which you would have expected them to kind of be, playoff contenders by the end of the season. So what I want to bring up to you is, which from those 3 who are sitting essentially not at the very bottom, but they're sitting near the bottom of the table, which do you feel more confident for that will have a top 8 finish, will be able to make it into playoffs?
Yeah, it's tough with Tigres, Leon, Necaxa, like all teams that, as you said, we expected. I think many expected to be in this top 8, and none of the 3 are necessarily playing it like that right now, and it's still pretty early. It's definitely early. Definitely, like a couple wins, and we're not having any of the conversation about these teams anymore. And frankly, like, I could still kind of see all 3 of them sneaking back in the top 3. But most confident, the team I expect to get there is actually Leon at this point, because I
would not have guessed that. All right.
Yeah, I mean, like, Tigres are right there, but I still think Leon are such a dangerous team. Yeah. And I really like their attacking options, and I really like their manager, and I have a lot of faith in their manager for what we've seen from him last season. That although I read Tom Harrison's article he put up on FootMex Nation, and he referenced kind of the potential that this team could kind of wear down from the style of play that Torrente employs with Leon, and I think there's something to be said for that. I think that's a good point, but at the same time, I just think there's too much. I've seen too much of this team playing as a cohesive unit as a team, where Tigres, if I'm going to find something to nitpick, and I still expect them to turn it around, but if I'm going to nitpick with them, I think they're a little dependent upon the big name players.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
If you see a dip in form from those big name players, although they have tons of them, you could see them kind of being solo acts, kind of like what we've seen from Monterrey. I don't think Tigres will go that way, but I mean that's the thing that doesn't give me as much confidence. Where Leon, I've seen them play that great style that I expect them to be there. Tigres, I expect them to be there, but I could see it like there's an alternate reality where they flame out and things go kind of odd and bad.
I think we talked about that like last weekend when you were here watching the games with me. Is that like I still don't know what to make of Leon. They can I feel like they could do, like, when you made some excellent points there, they have some interesting options to attack, and even Gullit Peña, who came in on the second half, he scored a goal. And that goal in itself could be really important for him. It could be important for, if there's a play out there who really needs a boost in confidence.
That's right.
It's Gullit. It's Gullit.
Right.
Yeah, it's Gullit. So who knows what that goal will mean for him? But I could just as easily see them struggle and get another 4-2 loss next week or the week after that, and then followed up with another incredible performance. I don't know. It's hard for me to put a lot of confidence behind Leon, and I can see what you're saying. But my vote for the most confident for team that I think is going to finish in the top 8 is I still got to stick with Tigres. I think they need some time to relax. I think, and their backup to the backup goalkeeper was playing for most of that last match.
No.
Yeah, not at all. Aaron Fernandez, the backup to the backup, and if ever correct, I think that was his Liga MX debut, and he was 29 or something, which somehow feels very Tuca. But
finally broken.
He finally broke it. There, he got 29. But no, there's just an astonishing amount of talent on that team, and once again, you made the good point of just it is very individualistic at times, and that maybe someone like Vargas won't care too much about trying to work well with the rest of his teammates, and he's just caring about himself. We don't know. He just showed up. We can't make assumptions about the guy, but it's just so much talent, so much firepower in that team that I just can't. It would be ridiculous for me not to assume that they'd be able to make it to the top 8. So I feel most confident about them. So, or do we both feel the least confident about Necaxa, or is
we do? I mean, I do, and I assume you do as well. And I think, it's not necessarily a knock at them. I think it's just the style of play. I mean, it's defensive, and I think they're a very good team. But I mean, the score lines where they're going to get the results are going to be 1-0.
Yeah.
So I mean, the margin for error is just a lot smaller with them. I think that they're going to have to be able to find those goals and not concede. They can't give up the random strange goals because there go the points for that day. So it's just a smaller margin of error for that team than what we're having with Tigres and Leon, I think.
All right, so we got about a minute left. We're doing well so far. I don't know if we're able to power through this or not, but we're doing all right. So we're going to end this with so right now we got 4 teams at the bottom of the relegation table. We got Puebla, Chiapas, Veracruz, and Morelia. Right now at this point of the season, give me which team that you think is the most likely that's going to be knocked out and sent down to the second division.
Right now we have Morelia at the bottom. They're on 99 points. We have all these teams more or less on the same amount of games with the recently promoted sides being involved. Jaguars have the game in hand with, I think tomorrow night they're playing America, making up that first week. But right now you have Veracruz 6 points ahead of Morelia. You have Chiapas 5 points ahead of Morelia, and Puebla's 8 points ahead. So they're in a pretty big hole and pretty much playing the worst of all these teams at this point.
Yeah.
So it's hard not to say Morelia because they're looking to be in all kinds of trouble, and now bringing in a new manager at this point too. So it's looking pretty dicey at this point.
Yeah, and I think there was a key player for me who I think could have saved them, and his name is Raul Ruiz. He only has 1 goal so far this season. I know it's only 5 games this season, but if they really needed him to be at his very best. And if he isn't at playing at that top level, then I don't know if there's any hope for them. So yeah, I'm saying Morelia as well.
I had a conversation with Naib on Twitter, and looking at their main 2 competition teams competing for this, Veracruz and Chiapas, 2 teams that just always get those points at home.
Yeah.
They very rarely lose at home. And I mean, and if you can do that, you're going to be well equipped to avoid relegation. Morelia, we can't really say that about them. So they're in all kinds of trouble at this point.
Yeah, no, Chiapas have been pulling off some surprising results so far this season. And it looks like someone just said on the YouTube chat, our friend Afrozan, who just said, Tom and Luis are live now on the FootMex Nation Facebook page. So we're gonna push you guys who are watching right now. I'll post the link on Twitter. I'll post the link on the YouTube chat. We're gonna go over to them now. They're gonna be talking about the Mexican national team. And thank you all for joining on this quick show. We somehow made it happen. We went a minute over, but I'll blame Jason for that one. Let's blame Jason.
That's fair. I'll take it.
But thank you, Jason. And yeah, let's go see what Tom and Luiso have to say about the upcoming Mexican national team match.
Yeah, get over to Facebook.